Oh, really?
We're back in the garage. Last round. I bought a noob.
Oh shit, is this the YouTube channel? What's up? Look at all the bikes.
So we're here at
NHMS.
yeah. I hate it, but I brought Michael for his first track day. Let's show you his bike.
This is the baby ninja. This is the full built ninja. It's like grandfather and grandson.
And then Mike has a real ninja. We don't have real ninjas. It's his first track day, so he's gonna do the whole penguin day, and we're gonna see how he likes it at the end, and maybe we can get him to come up and do more. What are you looking forward to your first track day?
Not dying. I just don't want to die and just have fun. Honestly, I feel like that's all it's about. I think it should be fun.
He's gonna have fun. We'll check in and see how he does for the rest of the day.
Oh, really?
Oh, so you're Tom.
Yes.
I'm Michael. Nice to meet you, man.
You're one of the guys
What's
that
up,
won it?
buddy?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
So happy to be here.
Yeah, he's so happy too.
Oh,
He
yeah?
got free
Look
practice.
at the great
Yeah.
He's so slow.
I'd like to give a big shout out to Tom. He threw together these raffles to get these kids onto the track, and Michael was lucky enough to win one of them. Whether it be the Penguin Garage or NEMRR, I honestly think he's one of the hardest working dudes out there. Big ups to you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Let's keep getting these new kids onto the scene.
My name is Eric Wood. I've been running the school for the last 25 years or so, and the purpose of this meeting is just kind of give you guys an orientation of what's going on this morning and get you going. Just quick show of hands, who's new to the racetrack this weekend? A bunch of you guys, very good. So listen, welcome. Very glad to have you here. Big place, so just
You're in the rookie games.
So, halfway through the day, how do you feel?
Feeling good. I want to learn more. I'm just like so invigorated to just keep learning because like just we did the tractor walk.
Yeah.
And then you just like figure out your reference points. There's a lot of reference points, a lot to remember. Yeah. But honestly, I think this is something I could see myself doing for like
Forever?
not forever, for a long time though. It's so fun though.
That's why we have so many old guys here.
Dude, the first and the second one, the routes with the guided
Follow the leader?
guided lap. It was like hard because you're following somebody, so you have to try to either keep up their speed and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But when it's just you and the track, it's much more.
You ride at
like,
your own pace.
Exactly, your own pace.
You can work on
figure
your
out
own things.
Exactly, yeah. Okay.
Having missed round 5 was a pretty big gut punch, but that's not to say I didn't get any seat time from round 4 to round 6. I ended up doing a Thompson Speedway track day in the beginning of August, knowing that I was going to miss round 5 altogether, where I was riding the track for the first time since 2015. My main focus was just to have fun, gel more with the bike, and work a lot on my body positioning. So needless to say, I was pretty amped to get onto the bike at Loudon on Friday for practice, and it was also the first time in my riding that I ever rode with a lap timer. So it was interesting to see whether or not it was gonna be helpful during practice and race sessions or be a hindrance for me. A little bit more on that later, but I was just pretty stoked to get out there and to ride. I felt really good. The bike felt really good. There was a lot of different people out there. A couple of the novices got the bump to amateur for lightweight and ultralight, so they were in the class. I saw a couple of experts riding ultra lightweight bikes, so that's always a fun time. But yeah, I just felt really good on the bike this practice. I even managed to pull a 124.5 maybe. It's probably the best I've ever done on this little bike in practice or a race setting, so for me I was pretty stoked. The day wasn't without issue. The AIM Solo 2 could not find the map, so I needed Dimitrio's help to load the map onto my lap timer, and then my shifter decided to explode on itself, and of course it's left-handed threads with right-handed threads, so I didn't come prepared. Thankfully I got it fixed and went right back out on track. Also, as I was trying to fix my helmet so I could see through my visor, I accidentally pushed the base plate on my chin mount and it sent my GoPro flying into the air, and I somehow managed to grab it. Yes, I grabbed it with my left hand as I'm barreling down the back straight of turn 3. Thankfully there was a corner worker there when I made a stop, and he took my GoPro and I resumed back on track. Needless to say, that's probably the last time I'm going to be wearing a chin mounted camera on track.
Meanwhile,
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, right here.
Right, Jason, yeah.
Race day. So let's talk about it. Unfortunately, Saturday was the only day during round 6 that I could race, so I promptly signed myself up for as many races as I possibly could, starting with GT 500 combined expert and amateur, 500 super sport, and also ultra light superbike. During the GT 500 race, I felt really good, so heading out there I was pretty amped to get on the starting line. It was a goal of mine for the season to enter a GT race. The last time I had done one was back in 2017 on a middleweight bike, and yeah, it was a handful, to be honest. So I didn't think my stamina or my physical ability was up to par for a GT, so I held off into the last round to kind of see how I was physically, and I felt pretty good. So lining up for the race, I had nothing but good feelings, and you know, seeing these guys, not many opportunity you get to go out in the same wave as the experts, so anytime you can, I think you should, because you know, there's no better way to learn how to ride faster than to stick behind fast people and see what they're doing. There were a lot of new amateurs that signed up for this race kind of right off the bat, so it was kind of interesting to see their progression from being a novice to an amateur, and you know, riding with guys that have been riding for a little bit in this class. So I was pretty stoked. You know, to be honest, I was just happy that there was a lot more people in this class. Not to say that, in my perspective, I do think the ultralights are now the new meat grinder classes of club racing organizations everywhere. I mean, why wouldn't they be? These things are just so much fun, so cheap to build, so fun to ride. Just get one. Join the meat grinder class. The weather for the day, as you can see, already a bunch of little droplets of rain on the windscreen. A lot of people were very hesitant about switching over to rains. At this point, race direction hasn't called it a wet race, so for all intents and purposes, it is still a dry race. A little bit of mixed conditions. The track was pretty much dry except for a couple little sprinkles, so it was one of those who has the most gusto at the start type of races. Here we are pulling up to grid positions. I am not actually sure where I am. I think maybe 12A, and ahead of us are all the lightweight bikes, expert amateurs, and then they squish all of us ultralights into one big wave. I don't know how you guys feel, but at the start of races I always get so nervous, but as soon as your wave is about to go, kind of all that goes away the moment you lock your visor down. It's go time. Revs are up. Lights up. Lights out. Let's go. I felt like I had a pretty good launch, taking a couple of guys right off the bat. But coming into turn 1 in a class this big is always sketchy. You see Simon on the left of me, and I see somebody on the outside of me, and I didn't want to become a sandwich, so I had to give way. Lost a couple positions there. I think it is Simon, and then Fletcher in front of him, and Grant in front of him. Pretty solid start. Everybody got off the line pretty quickly. The first section was no drama. Here I tried to overtake into 3, but the guys kept on the gas a little bit longer than I expected, but coming up the hill, you can see them start inching away just slightly, but I knew I could try to get the drive on the 400 and close the gap going down into the bowl. I did try to put a pass on the outside. I believe it is Simon, but you can see he cut me off, so I just said, you know what, it's not so bad to just stay behind him for a lap or two and see how this plays out. The fast guys are still ahead, so they're not taking off into the distance just yet. I had really no worries, but you can also see the mixed condition flags there at the corner worker for turn 10. Again, I've gotten a little bit better at the 11-12 section, so this one not as bad as my last video. Good drive coming out of there, so head down, just gas on, just going through the gears and kind of just settling into the pace. I am trying to see this time where Simon is weakest, just to kind of plot my moment to pounce on him for a pass. As you can see, Fletcher is a little bit getting away. Here I decided to just brake a little bit later than him, but carrying so much speed into 3, I of course run it pretty wide, and that opens the door immensely for him to cut back. It's that undercut, happens to me all the time. But now having the inside line going into 6, I know that I could just brake a little bit later and push him a little bit wider just to gain the position and hold it there. And of course, with the lap timer, I had set it up to just 10ths at a time, and all that green light is just giving me, okay, let's go, let's go, let's go. We can catch these guys. They're not that far ahead, and my only game at this point is to just catch the pack in the front and try to keep the pack behind me, as far behind me as I possibly can. But you don't want to get stuck in that doldrum of just being in no man's land. Too fast for the other guys, too slow for the guys ahead. Story of the season for me. And I will reiterate, after taking Penguin's advanced course, the first section of the track was always a hindrance for me, but now I feel so comfortable braking later and later and later every time, carrying a little bit more speed. And as I say that, I'm on slicks and you can see the raindrops just piling up on the windscreen. And of course, I going way too hot, knowing that I had to keep the guys behind me. It's something I'm gonna have to mentally work on in the off season. But at this point, I'm just wondering, okay, what's gonna happen? Are we gonna keep going because there are that much more raindrops? The clouds don't look like they're gonna dissipate. It's actually looking pretty worse. To the left, yeah, the clouds are rolling in pretty hard. But as long as the track is dry, I think being out there on slicks was gonna be no issue. Again, at this point, no one has shown me a wheel for many of the guys behind me, so my mission is still to try to catch the pack ahead. But I know at this point they're just inching little by little by little. So I honestly just And now it's literally settling into the pace because there's nothing else much more I could do. And I think at this point I made the mistake of looking at the timing tower and it says 17 minutes left. So for this race, 17 minutes on a 400 riding a GT, it's not going to be terrible. Not as bad as when I rode the R6 that was much more physically demanding to go the distance. This one I just treated as a very extended sprint race. Look, I didn't mess up turn 3, but I still did go pretty wide. And by now, of course, the experts are gapping ever so slightly. And at this point, I'm just thinking, alright, how many more laps until the lightweight bikes, especially the experts, start slapping me? And it was interesting because as I was coming around, I couldn't see anybody coming down the opposite side of turn 4 and 5 as I was coming up 7 and 8. As I'm barreling down, I'm wondering why. Oh, guess what? It's a red flag. So you do what you do in red flags. You be aware, but keep your pace and slow down when it's safe to do so. I think Race Direction decided to call a red flag because there was more and more raindrops falling. And I was kind of confused. I thought someone had gone down with the rain and all that. More of a light sprinkle if you ask me. So I was pretty wary of anything bad happening to any of the riders. So on this cooldown lap before we pitted back in, I was just trying to see if there was anybody on the track, but there wasn't. So by the time I actually got back into the pits, I was confused at what was going on, and evidently Race Direction called a red flag because of the mixed conditions. And during the 15-minute delay, they ended up deeming the rest of the day's races as wet races because the rain was coming in, and they also called the race for a GT 500 altogether after 4 laps, which I thought was kind of crazy. They could have just told us, hey, swap tires during those 15 minutes and go back out there, but to call a race after literally 4 laps of a GT, I was just astounded. I didn't know what to think, but so that kind of just like threw me off of my game and kind of soured the mood. And to be honest, for the rest of the day, this was race 2, and my next race wasn't until race 11, and the rain was surely coming in. It started raining a lot heavier after this point, so I kind of just outweighed my options. Like, I did everything I wanted to do for the season, you know, ride, got a little bit faster, didn't get anybody's way, felt way more comfortable on the bike, so I was pretty happy. And you know, the day before, I ended up doing a 24.4 as a PB for the bike. So I kind of thought, you know what, if I go back in and this is what's gonna happen, I'm just gonna start slowly packing up my stuff. As again, today was the only day that I was gonna be able to race, and if the rest of the races was gonna get rained out, I was just gonna take the loss and just call it a day. You're probably wondering how I ended up winning a race. So what happened? There you guys are. I was looking all over for you. Welcome. Usually I'm inside a garage, but today I'm actually inside my car, and what we're gonna do today is the last track day event of the season, at least for the Northeast. We got a Saturday, Sunday at Thompson Speedway in Connecticut. It is about an hour and 20 minutes from where I live. It's rush hour. I don't think I'm gonna get there at the time that I want, but I'm pretty sure I'll get there by the time the gates open at 8 p.m, which is pretty late to set up, and we have a full day of riding starting at 9 tomorrow. But it is the last event up here, at least in the Northeast, for the season. And last weekend was a super fun round 6 at NEMRR. So yeah, you stick with it. We're gonna get some riding in this weekend. It's supposed to be great weather. I'm pretty dang excited, so let's go. So, how did I ended up winning a race, you might ask? Well, after GT500 ended after 4 laps, I decided to pack up my stuff because the rain wasn't really going to let up, and I've already accomplished what I wanted to accomplish, not only for the year but for the weekend, and I was in a very good space. But my garage mates in 11 and 12, thank you guys by the way, kept egging me on and saying, hey, you gotta go out there and race, you gotta go out there and race. It took a little bit dilly-dallying on my part, but I saw that the track was drying up, so fortunately I left my bike on the stands with warmers still on, so I threw those suckers on there for my 500 Super Sport race, and it was a crazy mixed bag. People at pre-grid were either on slicks or rains, and for me it wasn't raining whatsoever. I think the track by that point was completely bone dry. So I realized, you know what, it is a gamble of the tires, and I think I made the right gamble. Unfortunately I didn't record any of the race because I had already packed all my camera gear. I had zero distraction, to say the least. So I lined up, and you know, lights went on, lights went out, and we were in the second wave of a lot of racers. I just ended up, you know, picking off people left and right in front of me, as many as I possibly could, and I came upon Tommy Hines, who was on wets and I was on full slicks. It was probably the second to last lap. I ended up making a pass around him and Steven, who was also in my garage. Thank you, Steven. I tried to make that pass as clean as possible, but I overtook both of them on the outside of 9, knowing that, you know, if I don't do it now, I'm not going to be able to do it. And since we're in the second wave, I honestly didn't know how many more laps we had left until the experts lapped us. Thankfully, I made the pass when I did, and we did one full lap around before Brett in the lightweight class ended up passing me right before the checker, and the race was theoretically over, more or less. I didn't know that I won, to be honest. I just had a great race. I had so much fun out there, probably top 5 races of the season for me, just in sheer funness. Like I said, I didn't know I won until I got back into my garage and I saw all my garage buds out there cheering and clapping, and at first I was like, yo, what's going on? And then they go, yo, you won, dude. And I was like, no way, get out. So it was a very nice surprise. I was thrilled, enthralled. It was a fantastic year. All the hard work I put in the off season, getting the bike ready, and, you know, being back on track in over 7 years. It was a lot, and I really appreciate it. I appreciated everybody who took me in at the track. I appreciated seeing all the familiar faces that recognized me, and even though I've been gone for such a long time, and I love seeing the new up-and-coming kids and like just bringing new people to the track. So to be fair, it was a great year. I couldn't complain, and I can take that into the off season knowing I gave it my all. I crushed all my goals, and next year we're gonna set new goals, and we're just gonna crush them too. So without further ado, I'm just gonna leave you guys with a little bit of a montage of Thompson, one of the fun tracks that I get to ride in my area. And until the next video, you guys know what to do. If you got a bike, go outside and ride it. Not in the winter though, it's about to be winter up here, so if you do have a bike and you want to ride in the winter, be careful. But you know the rest. I'll see you guys in the next one.